Hi, this is Derek Tsai from learnbyblogging.com. Today I want to give you a review of this book called Antifragile by Nassim Taleb. He's the author of the book called The Black Swan, which was a very interesting read. I had a review on this book earlier, and you can check on my website. There are numerous concepts that the Taleb presented here. I will not attempt to summarize it. You can check out from any of the wiki page. But I'd like to cover some of my key takeaway, key learning. Number one is that being fragile means that you can, the more you are beaten, the better you get. It's not just being robust or being rigorous. It's about thriving on the punches that are being thrown at you. A little bit hard to understand as an antidote to the black swan events like the Mother Nature's, any of the typhoon or hurricanes or hurricane of the century or tsunami of the century like the Fukushima in Japan. So number two is the nature of being fragile is applied to your livelihood or survival is have a barbell strategy. So a steady risk-averse job with a consistent income and then pursue a risk-seeking opportunity on the side. So, so I interpret it as some kind of having a dual path income streams, one that pays a bill and the other one has potential a huge upside. I believe this can be applied to your investment portfolio as well. The number three is the via negativa. One of the chapter was very interesting, meaning that you will take away, start taking away the, sometimes being robust is by taking away the most fragile elements of your life. That's one chapter on that, very interesting read. Number four is never trust the words of a man who is not free. So he has a very interesting story about the mobster, the Fat Tony, and the Lawrence of Arabia, who is a civil servant, promised the African country that England would not take over. But you don't know the story about the Arab, the Lawrence of Arabia. But if you trust a mobster like Meyer Lansky, the word is golden. So interesting take on that. Number five is on ethics. If you see fraud and you don't say fraud, then you are a fraud. Another concept that asks you to really stand out for what is right and what is wrong. Number six, there's a Fat Tony character. It's rather interesting. I think it's kind of representing the author himself. I like his straightforward talk and the techno-prisoner style. Number seven, the redundancy is a form of anti-fragility. It gives you the option to be opportunistic, like having an extra oil reserve when there's a to be profitable when there's a squeeze. So having some redundancy is not really a bad thing. Number eight, post-traumatic growth. That's another concept that was presented. May allow a person to live up to more than his or her potential by subjecting to traumatic stress, like the author's lifting weight and turning into a bodyguard, as they coined the phrase. So by really pushing your body to the limit, also strengthen you to being an anti-fragile. Number nine, some criticism or some stressor can be validating to your position. It means that if you are generating envy from others, this goes to, there's a story behind that. If nobody is criticizing you, means that you are really not drawing the envy from your competitors or your peers, and probably you're not as successful as you think you are. So a corporate, a government may be fragile when they try to instill confidence like a book author can generate publicity by making the news, like being an economist. That's kind of his imagination, the author's imagination, that he can actually, he claimed that he can be fragile because anti-fragile because he's an author, and if he beat up and create publicity, actually can add the readership to his book. So interesting concept there. Number 10, what kills me makes others stronger. So like a plane crashes result in a better design for all the travelers due to the lessons learned in designing a safer product or safer plane. The accident does pave the way for a safety of the others, and that paves the anti-fragility for the mankind, the society as a whole. Number 11, evolution like randomness, like random mutation to a certain point. So nature is anti-fragile by his explanation. Number 12, organic products tend to be more reliable than mechanical. So organic being biological product than something that's man-made, tend to be more fragile, anti-fragile that is. Number 13, bottom-up governing, like the Switzerland, is more. Switzerland has a little township all over the country, and it doesn't have a centralized government as much as the rest of the world do, and it tends to be more anti-fragile than the top-down bureaucracy due to randomness that strengthen the structure of the organization. And he gives another example: the taxi cab driver has more variation than a civil servant or a bank worker. He gave an example of twins in who is one is banker and one is a taxi driver. So whoever, even though there's more variation, he tends to be more anti-fragile. He doesn't get laid off by the bank when there's a financial crisis. So number 14, iatrogenic. He went to a very great concept about the iatrogenic. It's doing more harms than trying to be helpful, like certain medicines or the Fed's policy during the 2007 to iron out the boom and bust cycles, and sometimes procrastination, like seeing a doctor while being healthy, or can be for elective procedure, may be a good thing. So he's really anti-interruption, interference with the nature by seeing the doctor too often. Sometimes it may come down with something that's worse than you supposed to get. He has his good arguments. Number 15, forecasting and trusting the forecast can be very downright harmful to the risk takers. So don't ever trust the forecaster, because you don't know what data they have. They may not be able to project, or there's no way they're going to predict the black swan effect. And number 16, having optionality, like the author was invited to a party, and that he didn't have to go, and that's having a optionality to just drop in, or living in a rent-controlled apartment allow him to be anti-fragile, because in the author's term, the option means asymmetry, benefit more than losing, plus the rationality, keeping what's good and ditching the bad. So this gives you whoever owns the options, all the plus side and not much of a negative side, downside. So the asymmetry and it's all part of the being anti-fragile. And also he mentioned this phrase: life is a long gamma, means that life will benefit from volatility and variability. Interesting concept there. I also take away from the book number 17, the author is really anti-academia. It's very clear throughout the book, or even the pundits in the Wall Street. He doesn't believe that the academia foster innovation and anti-fragility except for the administrators and the professors themselves. So there's a lot of concepts being presented in the book. There's a total of 7 books, and the author really condensed a lot of his ideas. Some of the stuff needs to be more edited a little bit more, but overall, it's a very good book to read once, twice, or even 3 times. So I've read this 2 times already, and I hope sometime in the future I'll read it again. So overall, to me, this is a masterpiece. It's funny and full of ideas, and make you think. Once you get over Taleb's sense of humor and his abrasiveness, it's kind of funny. And it's a must read for anybody, everyone in his career or his investment strategies, and how he and she would perceive the world and the systems that are driving it. So overall, good book, good experience. I encourage you to read them, read the book and all the books that the author wrote. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this review. Bye now.